Not ahead of his time. He was his time.
Civil rights historian and UNO professor Preston Love Jr. recalls when he first met Congressman John Lewis. Love says he was living in Atlanta in the early 1980s.
But I was working for Andrew Young. I was in government. I was a department head. But he also asked me, because I had a way with people and I knew a lot of the city council people. John Lewis was on the city council.
Love says Lewis was the conscience of city council at that time, and he says they became close friends.
John was a big heart, big man, and he was steadfast.
Love tells 3 News Now Lewis's character always stood out.
So many ways, John Lewis was a great man.
Lewis, who died of cancer at the age of 80, was a pillar in the civil rights movement. From a young age, Lewis was on the front lines of marches and protests.
The sad part is that John Lewis, in the 60s, nearly gave his life up to fight for, guess what? Change and reform. And he marched. Now, why is that sad? Because it hasn't been a week since we, right now, have marched for change and reform. That's sad in a lot of ways.
But despite the decades-long efforts Lewis gave, Love says we still have a long way to go.
Here we are, saying I can't breathe in 2020. It's the same call, the same cry, the same demands for social justice and reform, and for us to be able to breathe, both physically and psychologically.
Love, who also runs the Black Votes Matter initiative here in Omaha, says people must use their voice and voting rights that people like Lewis fought for to make a change.
John, I'd say to you, you did your job. And I want to say, maybe at not the right juncture in this interview, but surely now, that we owe it to John to vote like crazy.
In Omaha, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now.